She's a genuine punter himself, so...
She's a genuine older.
Alright. So he might ask you questions you don't want to answer.
So let's put in... Do yourself better.
Brett, allow for me if somebody's going a bit funny, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just give him much there.
I feel like one of them England players now.
Okay, hello, you are listening to HRB Hospital Radio Barnet. We're joined on air by Mark Stimson, the new Barnet manager. Hello Mark, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Running a little bit late in the traffic.
Yeah, this time in the evening the traffic is a little bit sticky, but I do apologise.
So how are you settling in at Barnet? How's you took charge on June the 1st?
That's correct, and it's been very busy since then. Unfortunately, I took over, we didn't have many players signed, but I've been making many phone calls, talking to loads of players, loads of agents, and slowly but surely we're getting the squad looking a lot healthier, and we're looking forward now to these pre-season games coming up.
So what was the club like when you first came in the first day? Did you find the club in disarray after last season's exploits? What was your general sense when you first walked through the door last month?
I wouldn't say disarray. I think there was a sign of relief that the club maintained in the Football League, because that was so important, and by the time me coming in the door for the first time, I'd already invited a lot of trialists in to try and compete and earn a contract. So since we've been back in pre-season training, we've had numbers between 25 and 40 training, but previous to coming back in pre-season training, like you say there, it was just a matter of listening to the people in charge. They've got great beliefs for the club, and I think the club's going in the right direction, and hopefully I'm the manager to take them in that direction.
So when you first come in, obviously you've got a load of players on the books who, quite frankly, didn't cut the mustard last season. How do you assess those players, maybe not having seen them in the match environment? Do you look at them training, or do you take a bit of a while to take a decision on them?
The ones who was here last year?
The players who have gone out the door, yeah.
The ones who have gone out the door, obviously, I've known a lot of those because you just do, because of obviously the work I'm in, and I just didn't think obviously they performed to their probably maximum last year. That's why the club was in the position it was. But the guys we've got on contract, I think they've all got a good opportunity to show me that they're worthy of place, and with the new players we're bringing in alongside those, I think we'll have a very exciting young squad, and hopefully have a lot better season than we did last year.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the players that you're actually bringing into the club. You were talking on the way down about the Republic of Ireland under-21 player whose name escapes me. He's due to sign next week, maybe?
Yes, hopefully. He's someone I worked with last year at Gillingham. I took him on loan from Cardiff, and he's a young player with lots of potential. He's a left-footed centre-half. He's quite a big lad as well. He stands at 6'4", 6'5". But he's one of many. With like I say, we're trying to sign him next week. But we've booked some in recently who I think will be a good additions to Barnet Football Club, and I'm sure the supporters in time will be excited watching some of those play.
So if you can run through some of the players and what attributes they're going to bring to the team. You've got a new captain as well. You've named as a club captain. Anwar?
Yes, Anwar will be the captain of the side. He's got that experience. He's been captain at Dagenham for possibly 4 or 5 years now, or maybe longer. He leads by example. He's a good motivator. He's one of the older boys in the group, so he's going to expect all the younger ones to do a lot of his running around, but he'll organise them out there, and that's important. And alongside him possibly could be the new signing we're trying to do next week. In the full-back positions, Joe De Vera is still at the club, and I think he had a decent season last year, and in pre-season training he looked in good shape. On the other side of the pitch, there's young Jordan Parks we took from Watford, who had a loan period at Barnet before, but he's a tidy football player. And in front of those we've got lots of options for lots of different combinations and formations we're probably going to play this year, but there's some exciting talent in front of those. The boy Sam Cox, who we've got from Tottenham, looks as though he's got good potential. Danny Kelly from Norwich. Ricky Owens we took from Chelmsford out of Conference South, but actually working with him now for 10 days. He's a busy little bee, and he gets around the pitch and he's not frightened to have a shot, so I think we're getting a good mix together.
So you're coming in with some young players by the sounds of it. What's the average age of the players you've brought into the club?
I'll probably just mention the young ones there, but we've also signed Glenn Southern and Glenn Paul, who are in their late 20s. Again, will give us that little bit of experience, because you need that. I think you need a mixture. It's no good going with all young or all old. You try and find that right blend, and that's what we're trying to put together. the average age, we'll see what sort of team starts the season before we can work that out. I'm sure it's probably a little bit younger than it was last season.
So you bring these players in, they're obviously talented individuals. You've assessed them, you like them, you bring them in. How do you foster team spirit?
Well, you get that on the training pitch, and it's important to spend a bit of time with the lads and talk to them, find what their beliefs are before you sign them, what they want out of the game, really. And all these guys we've brought into the club, first and foremost, they want to do very well for themselves personally, but then also have to buy into what the club's about. And we've got a fantastic training facility, and I know the boys were excited and are excited now, still training on it. And that's good for team spirits. If you go out onto a training pitch that is first class, straight away the tempo of the session is good. It's not as though you're going onto a surface that can be dangerous, and sometimes the standard could drop. So that's a massive plus. And as long as the season goes on, there'll be little events we do, probably away from the training ground, just for a little bit of team bonding, that builds team spirit. But it's about the characters you sign. I think this year I'm certainly looking at the characters more possibly than I have recent years, and these guys are definitely coming for the most important reason, that's to win football matches.
Okay, you've also brought in your son Charlie. Now, is it difficult, obviously, when you bring your son into a football club you manage, does he have to be a little bit better than everyone else to be able to make the grade? Because obviously he's got the pressure of being the manager's son. Does he have to, add that extra 20-30% above anyone else sort of his age or of his ilk? Does he have to be that little bit better to prove himself? Are there any charges of sort of nepotism when you've got your son in the squad with you?
None whatsoever. He's just treated as another football player, and if he's good enough to play, he'll play. If he's not, he won't, and he was good enough to get a contract. There's no pressures at all. He knows the situation. He's come to trial at the beginning of the pre-season, and he warranted and done well enough to be offered a contract.
So on the training ground, you get a rollicking like the rest of the lads if he messes up?
Unfortunately for him, you probably get it at home as well when you get indoors, so you probably don't escape it. But no, I've managed him before in teams, and like I said, at the end of the day, he's a football player, and that's what all the boys are. They'll get judged the same, and if they produce, they play. If they don't, unfortunately, you have to work harder to try and get back into the team.
Okay, when you came into the club, obviously the Hive is now up and running, the £11 million complex. Were you surprised at the facilities and how good they were for a League Two club when you came in and saw it for the first time?
Yeah, actually seeing it, I've heard about it and seen pictures of it, but actually going in and physically seeing it, there's no one in League Two who could get anywhere near it, possibly Championships clubs as well. So it is a fantastic facility, and like when I've shown the players, they've been like me, the mouth's been wide open. So you can't believe you're actually going to be training here every day, and the surface of the pitches are first class. The ground staff work extremely hard to keep them up to scratch, and I really do look forward to working on those pitches throughout the season, because I am a manager who likes to be on the training ground. I don't like to be sat in the office doing the paperwork side of things. I like to be on the training ground helping the players develop and hopefully get them and myself a long time in football, because it is possibly the best job there is.
You haven't managed to experience the changing rooms of Underhill yet, have you? You've obviously had a look around. They're very small, 6 for 11 players. Is there any plans to upgrade the ground,
I actually played for Barnet many years ago on loan when I was at Portsmouth.
15 or so appearances, is that right?
No, not that many. I think it was 6. I've only done 1 month. I've just come back from a serious back injury. I've been out of season and come to the club. Ray Clements was manager at the time, and no, the own change room hasn't really changed much since then. But I'm sure the chairman's got plans to, if not develop the stadium, maybe move on. But we'll make the best of it. Again, team bonding, team spirit, nice small tight-knit changing room, get together, go out on the pitch, and again the pitch at Underhill is first class now. The work that's been done.
I always feel sorry for the subs though, they're always out at half time, so I don't think there's room in the changing room for them, is there? What's the culture like at Barnet in relation to Gillingham? Obviously you've been at Gillingham for a couple of years, you've come to Barnet. If you compared the two, what's the culture, what's the differences between the two football clubs?
Well, at Gillingham you've got a fantastic stadium, but a not so good training ground. Barnet's probably the other way around, not such a good stadium, but an unbelievable training facility. And again, me as a manager, that's the way I like it. Ideally, you'd like both to match up, and I think in time that will happen at Barnet. So that's the biggest difference, is the